Hey y'all, IrixGuy here, back again with another live show, and that is the sound of the super chat. So if you're tuning in live, don't forget to super chat, because whenever you super chat, you will hear the sound of the super chat. And if we ever break through $100 in one live show, like we have once already, I will break out the drum, and if we break through 200, there'll be a special surprise. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started here. And just making sure I wasn't kicking something over underneath the studio set. So I hope everybody's doing well today. We're, obviously the focal point remains the Mavic Air 2. The Mavic Air 2 has been a phenomenal drone so far. I've been trying to find flaws with the Mavic Air 2, and I mean, that's my objective. I'm trying to do everything I can to find something that's less than desirable with the Mavic Air 2, but so far it's just been a rock solid aircraft. So I did post a video today. The link to the case that I'm using right here, you can see I've got the Mavic Air 2's controller over here, and then you unzip this area and you've got the Mavic Air 2. So just a very convenient case. Obviously not waterproof and not extremely ruggedized. I mean, the controller's out on its own here, sick in this little, what do you call it, like elastic type pouch. But if you put this in a dry bag, then you could kind of have the best of both worlds. You got something very small, very lightweight, semi-ruggedized. I mean, this may be able to withstand a little bit of bumps and knocks. The controller, obviously, on the outside would not. But, just trying to keep it small, trying to keep it simple, trying to keep it affordable. So you can find that on my website. The Mavic Air 2 has been phenomenal. One thing that I've done, and again, I've got one battery currently with the Mavic Air 2, so I haven't had a chance to exhaustively field test everything yet. I'm going to field test everything intelligent flight modes, the battery life. Obviously, you could get a feel for the battery life. My wilderness flight that I posted yesterday, where I went out in the middle of the wilderness, probably, 6 miles out, and all you can see is trees. And I launched the Mavic Air 2 from the middle of the wilderness and flew around, and I narrated the entire experience. I thought that was really cool. I mean, that was a true testament to the, number one, to the communication system, the OcuSync 2 that's built into the Mavic Air 2, but also just the, the comfort level that I have with the drone so far. I mean, it's, if you've ever flown a DJI drone, you've kind of grown to expect quality. It's not a, well, if I do this and what might happen kind of thing with, with other types of drones and technologies. It's more of a, well, since I've been flying DJI, in my case, I've been flying DJI since DJI Phantom 1, I have I've developed a feeling of trust with that brand. So, when I took my Mavic Air 2 off, we've got UK Transport Videos 82. Welcome aboard, man. Welcome aboard. UK, United Kingdom, representing from the UK. So this show, we'll talk about drones. We can talk about tutorial topics. A big focal point that I've had today, I mean, obviously, going out and getting some exercise, trying to burn off this quarantine gut and butt. But, whoa, dropped my didgeridoo. But I also, there's been a high demand for, hope I didn't break that. Hold on. No, it's fine. Let me just make sure. Hold on. And anytime you super chat, and you can super chat down in the comment section, and you can do the super chat if you want to, and then this is the sound of the super chat. So I'll be able to bust it out if you send a super chat. But yeah, today's been kind of a crazy day in the studio. A few things I did, and I've got videos incoming. I use Manfrotto, however you pronounce it, tripods. Really good tripods, made in Italy, or designed in Italy, made in Italy, I don't know. They're very good tripods. And I'd gone with, historically I'd been using fluid head video heads on the tripod. So I've got my travel tripod, it had a fluid head. I've got my studio tripod, it also had a fluid head, and that's great, you know, because when you want to do a pan and this, that, and the other with the tripod, you need that little handle, and you need that, excuse me, that good pan movement. And the problem with a fluid head tripod, Trep, welcome aboard, man. Trep, represent. The problem with a fluid head tripod is that, you know, in a lot of filming situations, they're a little bit bulkier. You know, the heads tend to be a little bit heavier. You know, you've got that little handle that sticks out the back. I mean, obviously you can drop it down, but it's still less than convenient in a lot of filming situations, especially if you're going out and you're doing a combination of video and stills photography. So, you know, in a situation where you need UK Transport Videos 82, he says, I got Manfrotto too. They are good to have. Yeah, best tripods, man. Excellent. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, you're shopping for tripods, and it's like, you know, I've been down, and I'm not going to, you know, insert brands here because every brand's trying to compete. But, you know, I've messed with miscellaneous brand A, B, and C, you know, all the way from the bottom of the barrel to, oh, it's almost as good as a Manfrotto or a Manfrotto, however you say it. And the reality is that, you know, once you start using a Manfrotto or Manfrotto tripod, however you call it, however you pronounce it rather, it's just such a refined experience. I mean, it's a testament to their design. I mean, they put a lot of thought into it. You know, you hold it in your hands. It's very well made. You know, you swap out the head on the top. You know, maybe you go from photography head to a fluid video head. You know, it's easy to swap it out. They've just got a really good design, and that's something I did today. I filmed a video tutorial because I'd been using fluid head video heads on my Manfrottos, and I decided, you know what, that's great, and I like those, but there's a few drawbacks. If you're doing stills, Mind Trick 71 says Mandingo, welcome aboard, man. But yeah, the Manfrotto tripods, if you're using the video fluid head, it's great if you're doing video because, you know, you can pan and then you can tilt up and down, you know, no problem with that. But if you're using a video head, you're adding additional weight and additional size to your tripod. In my situation, you know, I'm an adventure traveler, so I'm all over the world. You know, I'm throwing my stuff in a dry bag. I'm getting, you know, jumping off a boat, swimming to shore, and I've got to have all my gear. And in that scenario, a fluid video head is not always optimal. So what I've done, I flip back to the, and I take it off, but I'm using that camera for the live show. I've taken off the video fluid head, and I've replaced with the traditional Manfrotto, you know, stills photography head. And the other advantage you get to that, not only is it smaller and lighter, but the plate that you've got on the bottom of your camera, in my case, the Sony a7R4, you know, I shoot Sony Alpha cameras. It's not as big. It's only about that big. When you're dealing with a plate for the video fluid head, Manfrotto fluid heads, you're looking at a plate that's about that long. Now, it doesn't add a ton of weight and a ton of bulk, but the challenge with that is that if you're like me and you're using multiple lenses, I mean, my primary lens is a 24 to 70 millimeter Sony G Master, but I also use a Sony 16 to 35 G Master and a Sony 100 to 400 millimeter G Master, and then on the Zeiss side of the fence, I use a Zeiss Batis 85 millimeter. All of those lenses have a different design. So when you've got a plate for the fluid head that's kind of sticking out, at least with my Zeiss Batis, that's going to hit the plate, and then I've got to shift the plate back, and if I shift the plate back, then I've got the plate in my face on the rear of the camera. So there's advantages to using a non-video fluid head tripod on a Manfrotto tripod. So for that reason, I've switched back to the photography heads, which are very small, very compact, and the plates they just sit underneath the Sony Alpha like a boss. They're not sticking out. It's not creating an obstacle for your lenses and or additional travel size and weight. So for that reason, I posted a few videos today, and they're going to be posted. They're going to be made public soon. But it's how to attach a Manfrotto tripod head, and then also how to remove a Manfrotto tripod head. Because obviously on mine, I had the Manfrotto video fluid head on my tripod, and then I had to replace it with a Manfrotto photography head on the tripod. So, just kind of interesting stuff, kind of nerdy, but, it is what it is. You're trying to find ways to improve all of your equipment. And, what better way to improve it than to identify what needs to be improved. It's not just, I watched so-and-so on YouTube, or I watched such and such, and I decided that I wanted to do what they wanted to do. This is more of a, well, you know what, it can improve my production workflow if I use equipment that's better suited for my day-to-day task. And if I was 100% video in that scenario, I'd probably want to go with the fluid head. But since I'm not 100% video and I'm also shooting stills, when I'm out in the field, I want to minimize my travel size, I want to minimize my travel weight, and I want to have something that I can use for stills and videos as well. And trying to use a fluid head video head on a Manfrotto for stills is pretty difficult, because one thing you can't do if you're wanting to do a portrait shot, whereas with this head, like I've got on the camera now, on the tripod now, I can just pop it over and I can do a portrait. But with a video fluid head, I couldn't do a portrait. It's landscape, it's locked. So, just a few things to be aware of there. It's, again, trying to constantly identify opportunities for improvement. And, that's my goal for this channel. Being an independent YouTube channel, it is what it is. And I'm trying to improve the production quality. Heck, right now I'm live streaming with a Sony Alpha camera and a Sony G Master. So, I've stepped up a little bit from a USB web camera. I've got my quality audio, and I don't have the USB microphone in front of me, which that was a great microphone. But, if you can minimize the stuff that you have, it can often make your production quality better. And obviously I've got my didgeridoo right here, and this didgeridoo, by the way, if you super chat, you will get to hear the sound of the didgeridoo. And that's a way that I found to incentivize participation throughout these live shows. So this show is anything you want it to be. Any questions that you have, any comments, I'm here to help. If I can't help, I'll try my best to help, and I'll try to at least try to shoot you somewhere that may be able to help. That's my goal. Just so you know, today's been a busy day for IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. One of my top videos, and I'll shoot a link here in a second. Let me pull it up. Let me pull this video up here. I'm getting it. Just be patient. So I did let me get it. Aha, here we go. So this video that I'm about to link has been a great one. Whoops. I gotta mute that. Okay, it's muted. So this video has been a pretty heavy hitter right here. So basically what I did back in 2018, I posted this video because I said, oops, not that, hold on. That is the incorrect link, I apologize. Let's see, here we go. So that video, the second link that I posted, what that is how to set up Google Wi-Fi for AT&T Uverse. And it may seem like a boring topic, but put yourself in the shoes of someone, you're potentially work at home, your home internet is not cutting it, you walk into the other room with your laptop, it cuts out or whatever. What Google Wi-Fi is a mesh network. So, without getting too technical, because I know there's people that are probably technical within the audience. There's people that are less technical. But what a mesh network is at a high level is that instead of having multiple wireless points with different names, SSIDs, with a mesh network, what you have one SSID and all these different physical points that make up that SSID. So in the scenario of someone with a 2-story house in a backyard, they may have a couple of them upstairs, they may have a couple downstairs, and then one kind of downstairs in close proximity of the backyard. The idea being is that, you know, this mesh network can be shared among all of the Google Nest Wi-Fi points. So in other words, you're creating a, let's just call it a mesh. That's why I call it mesh. You're creating a mesh throughout your household and potentially some of your outdoor areas, so that if you need to access your laptop, your tablet, your whatever device, maybe you've got a TV on your patio that uses Wi-Fi, you can do it. And that's been a hot item, as one might imagine with the the pandemic. People in a position where they're having to spend more time at home and spend more time with that home internet. And that's a video that I published in 2018 that's recently received a lot of traction. I'm just like, hey guys, people are asking questions, and this is how I set it up in 2018. But they're like, hey, the interface is a little bit different. Hey, no problem. Shoot me a message, facebook.com/IrixGuy, and we'll schedule a time. And if you're into it, I'll schedule a consultation with you. So, it's really cool to see how how people are using YouTube now. I mean, not that the pandemic is a good thing by any means. It's not. It's horrible. But people are using YouTube as a source for knowledge. And, there's topics that I have, and again, that, how to set up Google Wi-Fi for AT&T Uverse is a prime example of it. Things that people are searching for that they're searching for with the current technology, because again, I filmed that in 2018, so all of my procedure was based upon what was present within AT&T's technology during 2018. But they call AT&T, and obviously AT&T will say, we don't, well, and again, this is an assumption, but this is what I've received from my viewers that were asking for my advice, and they would say, yeah, I called AT&T, and they said, we don't support a home network. So it's kind of a deal, where someone that may not be super computer savvy, they've bought this new equipment that promises the world. It's a mesh network. It's going to be so much better, such a better Wi-Fi experience. But the reality is they may purchase that mesh network, and then they take it home and they can't figure out how to set it up. And they look online, they can't find answers. If they do find answers, in my situation, they found answers that were current as of 2 years ago. And as you know, 2 years in technological terms is a long time. So they're left without a working solution. So they're commenting, and can you help? Oh yeah, I'd love to help. I'm a capitalist. I'd love to try. And I'm not charging these people a lot. I mean, my consulting fees are very. I feel that my consulting fees are very palatable. So if you're ever looking for, IT consulting, if you're ever looking for social media consulting, hit me up. I'll be more than happy to provide what I feel is a reasonable quote. But it's just been interesting, that video, and I spent my entire Sunday providing Google Wi-Fi setup tutorials, and it was fun. It's one thing to provide a service and make money from it. It's another thing to provide service and make money, but also provide a solution that makes that customer feel thrilled. And it's always good to have that. It works. When you hear, okay, now can you test this? It's kind of like the final step. You're 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour into the call. Okay, now as the next step, test this. And they say, okay, I tested it, it works. It puts a smile on their face. It puts a smile on your face. I did several of these consultations today, and it was cool because all I was doing, I was cooking some kielbasa. I was cooking some sirloin steaks, and multitasking. Headset in ear, earbud in ear, and making some Skrilla concurrently, because that's what it's about. I mean, you know, we're all in this together, and I mean, these challenging times that we're in, you know, it's easy to sit back and say, okay, it's a horrible situation. You know, the other way to look at it is that, yes, this is a less than perfect situation. This is a less than desirable situation. But as an entrepreneur, what are the opportunities that have been created as the product of this situation? You know, how can I provide, and again, not everybody's a nurse, not everybody's a politician, but, you know, how can I provide services of value during this time of need? And that's been my niche. It's been setting up a home network, you know, Google Wi-Fi. It's been, web camera. You know, I can't find web cameras. They're sold out, but I've got this camera. You know, how can I make that work? You know, those types of questions that I receive over and over, and I value those questions, because it's like, you know, you need to know how to do something, and I'm able to provide a solution that you might consider using. And again, if you need consulting, I mean, I'm here to consult. I mean, I'm not a consultant that's here to price gouge or anything like that. Josh Cortez says, hybrid life has the cash. Well, you know, I like cash. So if you need consulting, I will be happy to take your cash in exchange for consulting. Speaking of hybrid life, I do have Korean 2X, Korean 2 times spicy noodles that should be arriving within the next few days. So, you know, again, thanks to Hybrid Life for super chatting. And by the way, if y'all want to super chat, if you choose to super chat, I will blow this horn. And if we get through $100 US during this live show, I will also break out a tribal drum. But yeah, the 2X Korean spicy noodles, that was something that Hybrid Life was really pushing. He also talked about a Tesla, reviewing that, you know, the possibility of using a service such as Turo to rent a Tesla just for review purposes, which I thought was brilliant. I don't know Hybrid Life. I don't know what he does, but I got to say, I like the way that the dude thinks. He seems to have a mind that's wired for business, and that's very cool. And, you know, sharing in that mindset, you know, I'd like to say that as soon as I get those Korean 2X spicy noodles, I hope that's a good video. I just, you know, it's one of these things, you know, you meet people throughout this YouTube journey online, and it's like, you know, everybody brings their own feedback. You know, they're like this, that, and the other. You know, some people are entertaining, some people are educational, and some people are next level. You know, I mean, you get so much feedback that it's just kind of, you know, it's often kind of hard to decipher among the types of feedback that you receive. And then it's like, well, you know, once you start to poke at it and figure out, okay, this is really good feedback, this is mediocre feedback, this is next level feedback. The stuff I got from Hybrid Life was next level. Hybrid Life says med student. Hey, dude, medical student, I'm going to put you on the spot, Hybrid Life, since you tuned in and you said you're a med student. This pandemic that we're in right now, and again, I don't want to, and I'm going to preface this, I don't want to turn this into a political conversation because that's not my goal. But nerdy dude, you know, technological dude, flies drones, likes to eat spicy foods, to someone that is wired in a different, that is the sound of the super chat right there, y'all. And anytime a super chat comes in, and that super chat was from Hybrid Life, anytime it comes in, I will make the sound of the super chat. And if we get through $100 US within this live show, I will break out the tribal drum. So Hybrid Life says, thanks for the compliment. Dude, well deserved, man. I mean, honestly, and I mean, I'll just, you know, I shoot it like it is here. You know, I keep this show non-political, but the bottom line is, even though I keep it non-political, I speak freely. You know, I don't have a filter, and I just tell you what I think. I don't care. So the thing is this, number one, being a med student and being of the demographic that you are probably of because you're just starting med school, dude, that's awesome. You've got goals in life. You want to make money. You want to help people. And I'm sure you will be extremely successful because the comments you've shared there's comments you shared already have been tremendous. That's next level knowledge. But, flipping over to the pandemic that we're in right now, and again, not to turn this into political conversation because I know that I've got viewers that are on, actually throughout the world, but I've got people that have different political affiliations, and that's fine. I don't care. But from purely a medical perspective, what is your take on the coronavirus? Not talking about the potentially inflated numbers, not talking about, any of that, just from a pure medical perspective, medical professionals that you personally know or know someone through someone that knows them. So it's not spread through the media. People that you know within the medical community that have dealt with coronavirus. Number one, is coronavirus real? And if so, is it possibly deadly? Or is this just all created hype? That's what I want to know. So I'm putting you on the spot, man. And I have not received those 2X Korean noodles yet. They're on the way. They are on the way. Hopefully in the next few days they'll be here. Tomorrow's Monday. But I'm putting you on the spot hardcore. And if you don't feel like answering, that's perfectly acceptable. I don't want you to feel like you're in the hot seat and you can't answer. But while your wheels are spinning and you're contemplating, I'll share with everyone what I think. So my opinions in regards to the pandemic are, and again, I respect everyone else's opinion, but these are my opinions. Number one, it can be deadly. Number two, it may not affect everyone. There's people that, for whatever reason, their bodies may be able to avoid whatever it is. I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be. So, but there are people that are seriously affected by it. Being anything that's new, whether it's a virus or a new drone or a new video game system, whatever it may be, when there's something that's new, it hasn't been thoroughly vetted by the medical community. It hasn't been thoroughly vetted by the customers. In this case, the customers are the people that are infected with it. So, it's something that's new that, unless it's been tested thoroughly in a lab somewhere that we don't know about, and, that could be a possibility. It's something that we don't really know what it could do. It's great. Maybe people cough and maybe they have they can't breathe well. Maybe those are the early symptoms. But what happens a month later? What happens a year later? What happens 2 years later? Can this virus morph? How long can it live within one's body? We don't know this. Because if it is legitimately new, and it's not just something that's been created by the media, we don't know this. As a medical community, we don't know it. As politicians, we don't know it. As, insert whatever title here, we don't know it. So it's a really, and again, not to fearmonger, but anything that's new, don't trust it. Don't trust it. So I'm just not advice. I'm obviously not seeking medical advice because that's, that would be professionally inappropriate. But I'm just seeking opinions as to how everyone feels about this. Is it real? Is it just a total 100% media stunt? It doesn't even exist. I'll tell you what I know is that I know people personally that are part of the medical community, and they've treated people, some of which died. So that begs the question, did they die of the coronavirus, or was it badge coronavirus and it was actually pre-existing conditions that killed them? Who knows? See, that's the scary part. But anyway, I don't want to dwell on that because I know it's on everybody's mind, stuck up, not stuck up like snooty, but stuck up, locked up in a quarantine situation. The quarantine has been, it's been a horrible experience. But if if one convinces themselves that the quarantine has only been a horrible experience, they're doing themselves a disservice, because, the reality is that the quarantine has created an opportunity to think. And the quarantine has also created an opportunity for people to reevaluate what they perceived in the past as normalcy. I mean, the reality is that what we've seen is that, it's easy for people to take day-to-day life for granted. Simple things like going out and getting something to eat, going out and getting gasoline, and not having to buy a sanitizer and all that stuff. Taking perceived normal tasks, as in your mind, making that the norm. And the reality is that something like a virus can take all of those normalcies away. And I mean, I'm drinking some rum right now. Maybe the rum could kill some of the corona that's in my throat. Because, I mean, and again, I socially distanced myself, but I was in the wilderness yesterday flying my drone. I've got my Mavic Air 2, and I owe my viewers thorough reviews. And, when I passed people, I turned my head and I stepped into the woods with the snakes off the trail, and I said, look, I'm not here to chat with y'all. I don't want your Rona, and you don't want mine if I've got it and I'm asymptomatic. A Hybrid Life says, I think any type of virus is something to take seriously. The virus is real and can be deadly. This can be dependent on symptoms. COVID can manifest other illness such as pneumonia, which can be deadly. Or so what we are finding in some cases, we are seeing coagulation properties which causes clots. Talking about the strokes. I'm not a doctor, but I think that's what you're talking about. We are seeing this in all ages. I specifically am not working on anything affiliated with the coronavirus, but I do have an understanding of the human body. The problem I have is the fear-mongering with the media and the government. Yeah, the media are full of, man. And one thing I remember, and this was a, I don't know, I may offend some people when I say that, but who cares? I'll say it anyway. So when I was younger, I had the opportunity to be at a popular news network, and that was back in the days. I had, when you don't really know what you're going to do with your life professionally, and you've kind of got multiple paths, this, that, and the other. And the path at the time is that I wanted to pursue a law degree, or I wanted to pursue a life of politics, and I was at one of the big political centers. If anybody can dig up the video, that's a challenge for y'all if you can dig it up. But I was at CNN, and I forget the name of the show, but I was on it, and it was in the early 2000s. That's all the tidbits I'll give you. But it was the early 2000s. But I basically told the host that they were full of it, and they backlash and this, that, and the other. Because everybody else in the studio audience, they were just happy to have a face on camera, this, that, and the other. I just politely said, your network is full of blah, 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 without cursing or anything, and proved my point. So Hybrid Life says, fear a symptomatic nervous system response that releases a hormone called cortisol, which is a response to stress. That causes immunity and a weak immune system, so you are more prone to get sick. My undergraduate studies were in neuroscience and mental illness, and stress's main manifestation is from a problem in living, not pragmatic disposition. Dude, you're smart. You're smart. That is awesome. One thing that I regret in life, no, let me step back from that. I shouldn't have regrets. But one thing that I wish that I had pursued was a medical path, because, medicine is a science. There's a lot of exploration, but there's proven ways to do things properly. And the proven ways to do things properly are backed by hard evidence. And there's a lot of there's a lot of other opportunities within this world, professional opportunities that don't necessarily have yes and no backed by hard evidence. So, a lot of it is up to, whomever's in control. They say, okay, this is right or this is wrong, and those claims aren't necessarily backed upon hard evidence. And, that's one of the reasons that I regret. And, again, I don't necessarily say that I regret, but I'm kind of disappointed in myself for not pursuing a career in medicine. And, I don't, obviously, if I was a doctor, a medical doctor, I wouldn't be doing something like this. So, I understand there's a high level of patient confidentiality that exists there. There's a lot of accountability. You're going to, inevitably in that career path, you're going to be dealing with people that get well, and it's going to make you feel great. And also you're going to be dealing with people that, you've given it 100% and they didn't make it. And then you're going to say, what if I had done X instead of Z? What if I had done that? And it's probably going to plague you for weeks or months or maybe even years. And, I'm not a person that can just, make a decision and walk away and say decision was made. I'm the type personality that's going to say, well, that's the decision I made. I was confident. I was 100% confident at the time of making that decision. However, that decision resulted in a positive outcome or, a negative outcome. And in the case of the medical community, a negative outcome is not something that makes people feel warm and fuzzy. So that's kind of interesting. Hybrid Life says, if we are cognizant with controlling stress and being sufficient with our hygiene, we should be able to live normal life and function in society. My thing is this, man, and again, I'm not out in society right now. I'm in quarantine, but, I've got my rum, my high-quality rum from, actually, I'm drinking Goslings from Bermuda. Obviously, a non-medical question because I know you can't provide medical advice, but is there any possibility that drinking a liquor such as rum, high-proof rum, 80% or 80 proof, is there any possibility that it, if you had, say for example, today, I did all my consulting work and then I went out and went for a walk. But when I was going on that walk, I walked past some people that were walking in and out of a store, and I was 10 feet away. But what if they coughed and that stuff got in my throat? Is there any possibility that this rum might have killed that? These are uncertain times. And, Hybrid Life, what I really like is the way that you relay all of this. You're not relaying your knowledge to try to instill any sort of perceived sense of fear. You're just stating it, how you feel everything is, and that's level-headed, man. That really is. Speaking of level-headed, dude, I've got, and it was before you tuned in, but I've got those Korean 2X spicy noodles, and they ought to be here in a few days, and man, I can't wait. I have a feeling there was a reason that you recommended those, and I have a feeling that I will enjoy making that video. And that's my thing, man. Not being a doctor. A doctor, man, that is a huge career choice. And the best thing about it is that number one, you're part of an industry that's never going to go away. People are always going to get sick. People are always going to need medical advice. People are always going to need medical support. You're part of something. You're part of a greenfield field that, is never going to go away. And it's not something you can outsource. It's not like, oh, well, so-and-so's sick, so we're going to give them an exam remotely. At least today's technology is not capable of performing a physical from remote. You can't do that. There's certain forms of diagnostics, I'm sure, that the medical community can perform remotely, but for the most part, a lot of that is hands-on, doctor and patient. So, you're getting into something that, that should hopefully enable you to live a financially stable life, and you know, never have to question, you know, what what is next from a career perspective. And you know, and that is super cool. I mean, you know, you talking to you on this channel here, you know, I'm like, man, you know, it makes me wish that I had you know, pursued a medical path. And it's just you know, looking at it, it's like one of the memories that I had, and this was a few years ago, but I was at I was in the British Virgin Islands, and you know, I go there a lot, you know, obviously for my business, IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. But I was down there, and you know, just you know, rumming it up. You know, had some rum punch. Guy at Foxy's, one of the sons of Foxy, made an amazing drink, amazing rum drink. He's like, "What do you want?" I just said, "You know, hey, you're the expert, man. You know, fix me up." And I'm sitting down there drinking that. I'm down there with my wife, you know, sitting there talking to a surgeon on the beach, and it's like, you know, we're both at this same idealistic destination. You know, Jost Van Dyke. You know, just a really perfect island. And you know, looking at him, I mean, he took the path of medicine to get there, and I took the path of uncertainty. And you know, uncertainty is always it's exciting, because you know, there's not when there's not a what's next. For that reason, I wish I had pursued the medical path. I mean, the medical path would have been it would have been less uncertain. But I don't know, man. A Hybrid Life says, I don't know enough about the virus to make recommendations, etc. Just grinding, learning the foundations at the moment. That's cool, man. I mean, you know, for your day-to-day education to entail working with, you know, medical professionals and figuring all this out. I mean, that's pretty cool, man. That's kind of, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just like, that is cool. So we got some more, we got Hybrid Life giving a super chat. Now, he's a doctor, so, you know, he can give the super chats. Now, who else out there can super chat so I can blow on the didgeridoo? The didgeridoo, the sound of the super chat, only sounds when there's a super chat. And the super chat's that little icon down in the chat window. If you choose to click it, you can choose to super chat, and that'll create an acoustic response. So are y'all, I mean, pretty much now, is that your focus, or did y'all change your, I'm sure you've got a pretty structured schedule for what you got to learn day to day. Did y'all shift and switch into this, into the Corona thing full swing, or are you still doing the traditional training as well? But yeah, the Mavic Air 2, man, this case is great, because you just pop it out, you unzip it, you got your drone, you got your little camera protector. Super nice case. And I posted this on my website today. Hybrid Life says, I'm going to start a few live streams and start small channel for med and science and fitness. You'll have to tune in. Dude, seriously, I would love to tune in. And, you know, to add to that, if you're looking for, you know, for any sort of YouTube collaboration, you know, I'm more than happy to consider collaborating with your channel. I mean, that's one of the things, man. I mean, I'm looking for, you know, any sort of conversation that's engaging, educational. You know, I love collaborations that pertain to education and anything that pertains to travel. So, you know, just let me know, man. Hit me up. And you know, my email address, by the way, and y'all probably know this, it's IrixGuy@gmail.com. IrixGuy@gmail.com. So if y'all ever want to hit me up with a YouTube collaboration request, you know, feel free to drop me a direct message. Also, you can just go to facebook.com/IrixGuy and message me there, because I'm always looking for, looking for content. And I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, YouTube for me, without a doubt, it's a hobby, but YouTube for me is a big business. And I mean, you know, I'm here to provide entertainment. I'm here to provide education. I'm here to to really test the waters. I mean, one of the biggest, and something I'll shift back to a few years ago. One of the biggest things I remember, well, one of the turning points rather for the channel was, I would post, YouTube is the new TV. YouTube is the new television network, and there were several subscribers that would say, YouTube is not a TV network or whatever. And I mean, this was many years ago. And what I think we're seeing now, people are seeing the shift, and people don't. A lot of people, and I don't want to overgeneralize, but a lot of people don't trust the mainstream media. So a lot of people would rather, find a channel that they feel comfortable with on YouTube and follow that channel, subscribe to that channel, share that channel with others, support that channel, Patreon, Super Chats, etc. They would feel more comfortable doing that than they would sitting down watching mainstream network, insert letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G right here. So, it's really creating a new era. I mean, I know, I'm an older dude, man. I mean, I got gray hair, man. I mean, I'm almost, I'm getting close to 50. I'm old. But, I exfoliate my face so at least I don't look as old as I am. But, growing up before the internet existed, I've witnessed a lot of technological changes, and I've identified, business opportunities along the way. Some of which were highly successful, some of which I lost my butt. It's like anything else. I mean, you don't know until you try. So, what I see now, and again, this is my educated prediction as of today, which is May the 17th of 2020, I see social media continuing to be strong. And actually, I see social media slowly taking over traditional media, but the challenge of social media is that what we have now, what we have today during 2020, we've still got enough of the old school population that trust the news, not as much trust the newspaper as they did in the past, but you've still got a lot of people that trust, I got to flick on the TV and get my news. There's still a large percentage of people that don't feel comfortable with going to sources like YouTube, etc., to obtaining their news. And once we see that shift, my prediction is that what we're going to see is a lot of people will better embrace forms of communication like YouTube and abandon your big insert media network XYZ here. The media that are typically controlled by advertisements, their opinions and everything. Hybrid Life says, also have insights on economy and problems with monetary policy, etc. Was able to do well so far this year from investing. I feel my viewers can benefit from that insight as well. Dude, very cool. And if you want to collaborate, and this is not even linked closely at all with my YouTube channel, but if you want to collaborate anything regarding, I don't know if you do penny stocks, over-the-counter bulletin board, the pink sheets, the sketchiest of the sketchy, any sort of YouTube collabs you want to do, I'm interested in it. Hybrid Life says, I'll make sure to shoot you an email when I make some videos, and maybe we can do a live chat convo or something. I think that would be cool coming from two different perspectives. No doubt, man. I mean, see, you've got you're becoming a doctor, so you've got that school of thought. And I've got the school of thought of, I thought about becoming a doctor, I thought about becoming a lawyer, I thought about becoming a politician, And then I just decided, you know what, I'm going to become IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. So, yeah, man, dude, let's do it. Shoot me a message. We'll collab and see what we can drum up. I mean, you know, and that's the thing. The beauty of this is that, you know, what makes a social media venture successful are the viewers. I mean, if you don't have viewers, you don't have success. And I mean, that's, you know, my biggest struggle with this channel has been, right now I think I'm getting close to 74,000 subscribers. Is it 52 or 53 million video views? I'd have to check, but, you know, just trying to get, trying to break out of, you know, the slow trend. I mean, I know, you know, certain things trigger a more rapid acceleration, but, you know, I'm not saying my channel's stagnant, but, you know, who cares? You know, I'm not a politician. I'll tell you, yeah, my channel is stagnant right now. It's not where I want it to be. I want to be well past 100,000 subscribers, and I'm not. I'm only close to 74,000, and that's not good. So, you know, I'm up for anything. I mean, obviously, everything that I do is, you know, this channel is always clean. It's appropriate for all age groups. You know, I'm not here to use profanity. I'm not here to talk about questionable subject matter. I'm not here to, you know, to obsess with politics. But, you know, anything that we can... Hybrid Ice has done well with gold miners since March. Remind me to tell you about my 000 mining operation play. And my 000 mining operation play, this was back, I'd have to look at my calendar, maybe 8 or 10 years ago, or maybe even longer than that. But it was on the pink sheets. Remind me to tell you that story. That's a fascinating story. And it's actually, there were some follow-ups that I did after the stock had totally tanked. It's remind me to tell you about that. I'm not even going to drop the name of the company in this, but we'll chat. Yeah, penny stocks, man. I love the stock market. That's one of my things. And I think one of the reasons, you know, it's like the stock market, it's kind of a, you know, I've never have been and I never will be a gambler, because I think it's, I just think it's a poor, and again, I mean, nothing wrong with it if you want to go out and have a few drinks and go to the casino, but my perception of gambling is that it's a poor life choice, because there's people that go down that rabbit hole and they can't get out of it. I mean, the last time I went to a casino, I think I was 21. No, actually, I went after that because there was a girl that I was dating, and I wanted to go on a cheap date. And I said, hey, I said, do you want to go to casinos? And she said, yeah. So that was just a good opportunity to have a cheap date and, you know, and just have fun. So, but other than that, you know, I'm not a gambler. So, I mean, it's just kind of a, you know, penny stocks are kind of the, it's the closest to gambling I'll get. And what I like about penny stocks is that you can perform your own due diligence and you may be successful. But with penny stocks, I always expect to lose 100%, you know, just to be realistic about it. And I only put in what I expect to lose. But with that being said, it's just, you know, the most fascinating thing about penny stocks for me has been the detective work. You know, it makes you feel, it gives you something to troubleshoot. You know, it's like, well, you know, what about this? And, you know, dig in and perform your due diligence. Might this happen? Well, probably not, because it's a penny stock. But, you know, what about this clue, and that clue? Could that suggest that this may possibly happen? If it does, it could be a big percentage run. You know, who knows? Hybrid Life says, I need to invest in a camera and setup. We'll get some things this week. If you need any advice about that, man, about the cameras and, you know, live streaming gear, let me know. And, oh, and by the way, anything you're shopping for cameras, any of that, even if I don't send you a suggestion, just shoot on over to IrixGuy.com and click any of the Amazon links there, or expand this video's description and then click the link there for my Amazon store, and that'll take you to Amazon. That's just a great way to, you know, to further support IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. I mean, dude, your super chats have been exceptional, and I appreciate that. Speaking of super chats, does anyone else out there have a super chat they want to give so I can blow on the didgeridoo? The super chat Sam. Hybrid Eye says, I'll shoot you an email with my info. Not a gambler as well. I make investments for long term based on calculated risk from logic and psychology. Hey, that's smart, dude. But even with that being smart, expect to lose it all. We got more people tuning in. Everybody's tuning in. This is a live show. If you're watching this at approximately 8:10 p.m. New York City time, this is a live show. So, post your comments down below. I'm just hanging out here on Yost Van Dyke, getting ready to blow the super chat horn. But I got to have some super chats before I can. Hybrid Life's giving one. Who else wants to give one? Yep, got the Mavic Air 2 right here in its case. Beauty of this case, what I like about this case so much is that it's small, it's lightweight, it's got a handle, and if you want to put it in a dry bag, if you're going to get somewhere where it may get splashed, it's easy to do. But if you're just carrying it in dry, filming conditions, super convenient. Super duper convenient. See if we've got on the YouTube channel here. Let's see what we had pop up here. Man, people like the Mavic Air 2 sunset video. I filmed that one last night. What's amazing about the Mavic Air 2 to not have a 1-inch sensor, that low light performance, man, it's off the charts. It really is. And I'm not going to go, I'm not going to try to pump it up and, mislead. I still think that for lower light situations, that the Mavic 2 Pro, because that camera has a 1-inch sensor, I still think it's got the edge. But in most every other situation, even sunsets, dude, look at the Mavic Air 2 videos that I'm posting. It's solid. It's super solid. It really is. So, it's not a deal where you're cheapening up. I mean, you are you're picking up a high quality drone that whoa, what happened here? Michael says, hey, Irix guy, back from Fort Myers to say I like your Mavic Air 2 video. Awesome, man. Awesome. Appreciate that. And Fort Myers, man, great. Fort Myers, Florida is a great, wonderful place. Really, really cool place, man. Let's see what I got here. There we go. Whoa, what happened to that? Let's see, here we go. Michael says, I did pick up a Mavic Pro last week and I'm liking it. Dude, all of your accessories, the case, the batteries, the SD cards, check out my website, epicdroneshow.com. You can find it all there, dude. That is super appreciated. So who we got? What questions y'all have for me? Mavic Air 2 questions, drone questions, business questions, you name it. I mean, just comment. This is a live show, so we'll go through whatever. We will go through it. I tell you, the nose on that rum, when you're dealing with goslings, man, it's some good stuff. It is super good. Yeah, this is kind of my lazy day. I did consulting gigs all day. Yesterday was my big Mavic Air 2 filming day, and actually I've got a lot of edits I've got to work on tonight. But yeah, today was my big consulting gig, and I did provided a lot of Google Wi-Fi consulting services, so that was kind of cool. Let's see what I got here. Let's see, we're going to mix something up. I'm going to go into my thingamajiggy here. I am going to, let's see. There we go. Teleportation. And now I'm in St. Bart's. So we're in St. Bart's now. Had to mix up the camera a little bit there. Michael says, I am setting up my aerial photography and videography business as an LLC, limited liability carrier, in Florida. Lots to do. Yeah, man, that's, hope you chose a good lawyer for that, man. That's, running an LLC is always fun. I run several LLCs and then also an S Corp. And it's busy, but it's fun. Trump says, what's the key for talking on camera? The key for talking on camera, I'll tell you what that is, man. It is Gosling's rum. Well, actually, today it's Gosling's rum. I'm not a... Full disclosure, off of, on camera and in person, I'm very introverted. I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm not a, I've never been the guy, or guy or girl, whatever, I don't want to be gender biased or whatever, but the people that are like, hey buddy, nice shoes, or hey buddy, looking sharp or whatever. I'm not the salesperson, man. I'm just not that. I'm just IrixGuy guy, so I don't have to put on a show. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know. But the key for talking on camera, and obviously I was just joking about the rum. I mean, yeah, I am drinking rum right now, but the key for talking on camera, number one, is to have good lighting and to have good audio and to test, plug it into your, to a monitor or whatever and just watch yourself on camera. It's awkward seeing yourself on camera, but the bottom line is if you can see yourself and you can know that you're well framed and that, that the audio sounds good. The main thing is when I look at the camera, I'm looking at all y'all right now. I don't see y'all, but I've seen your YouTube usernames multiple times and I know who's who just because I've seen you coming back and I know you're a fan of the channel. And, when I look at it, I don't look at it as, obviously I'm here to make money and I'm here to make super chats because I can't operate a YouTube channel without viewer support. But when I look at everybody in the audience, I'm like, okay, I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to, try to provide some sort of educational value and or entertainment value. I'm here for a purpose. And, by being purpose driven, I'm able to get in front of a camera and do whatever, and I can put, whatever green screen backdrop back there. That's just stuff that makes it look fun. That's not necessarily doing any, providing any value. It's just making the, the broadcast more exciting, more visually engaging for the audience. But it's, let's see. Michael says, I am on the FAA testing office to reopen and take my test. Dude, good luck with your test, and my best advice for that test is to know your know your aeronautical maps. I mean, you need to know. You need to know those maps, man. You need to know the airport taxiways, because if you think it's going to be just basic stuff, I mean, it's really not. I mean, you got to know all the, how the runways are marked. You've got to know the weather conditions, the loading, especially if it's your first test. The recurrent training, at least as of 2 years ago, they had excluded some of the categories if you were recurrent. But the initial test, you're going to get everything: the weather, the loading. I mean, unless they've changed it. I'm not a government official by any means, but be prepared, and check out my website. I've got some materials on my website. If you search for, actually, let me shoot you a link. I posted a post, some things that that may help people better prepare for Part 107. And again, no guarantees here, just some things that I did to better prepare myself. So I'm going to shoot y'all that link. Let's see, here it is. But yeah, don't write off the FAA Part 107 test as a joke, because I don't care how smart or how ignorant you may be. It's not a walk in the park. It's really not. But yeah, the link I just posted, that's some study materials that I have that I've used for the FAA Part 107. Let's see what I got here. Oh yeah. Yeah, this looks good. Got a ton of people tuning in. Just as a reminder for everyone tuning in, I do have super chats. Brad says, "Hey, Irix guy, joining late." No problem, Brad. You're never late because you're always on time. Because you're one of the many top viewers of this channel, and that's greatly appreciated. Got a bunch of other people tuning in here. Trelp says, "I like your background. Is that a video instead of a photo?" Actually, it is a video. This background behind me currently at 8:21 p.m. New York City time. This background is in St. Bart's. So I went over to St. Bart's. I flew into St. Martin, and I went over to St. Bart's, and I was going to do just one night because it's expensive there, and I was afraid it may be snooty or whatever, and I'm not into snooty people. But it really wasn't. It wasn't snooty. It was just a very nice place, and I went to this background I filmed at a place called, I was in that pool drinking French rum, but it was a place called La Village. La Village is how it looks like, but it's Levillage. If you ever go to the French Caribbean, I highly recommend La Village. The people there were super friendly. It was not a snooty environment. I mean, it was just just nice people, and I mean, it was a nice hotel. They had a continental breakfast, which I was a fan of because I got to eat cheap. The pool was outstanding. I mean, you went out there in the pool, mixed you up some premium rum drinks, and I mean, you were the boss. I mean, it really was. But yeah, that's the background I got right there. Michael says, weather sectional charts, maps are pretty good. I drew military mapping and logistics mapping, which helped me. I am taking the Pilot Institute online, help me out. Cool, man. Well, hopefully it goes well for you, and take your time, man. Don't get rattled when you get in there, because if it's like it was here, they'll lock you in a room, and if you got to pee or poop or whatever, you got to raise your hand and wave at the camera. Brad says, "What's your impressions on the Mavic Air 2 compared to the Mavic 2 Pro?" Wonderful question, and we're going to jump right into that. Before we do, let me pour this in here. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Brought that from Bermuda. Good stuff. Yeah, so Mavic 2 Air versus Mavic 2 Pro. The nose on that. So the battery life on the Mavic Air 2 is much better. The controller on the Mavic Air 2 is much better. And I'll go as far as to say that I love the Mavic 2 Pro Smart Controller, but I will go as far as to say that I like the Mavic Air 2's standard controller that smartphone fits on top, just because, well, here's why. Because I bring my own smartphone. The smart controller for Mavic 2 Pro has the device permanently mated to it. How well are they going to keep that current? With this option, I've got the ability to put whatever the new iPhone is on top of it. It'll work with other phones too. I just use iPhone. But I'm able to swap out the device. Super duper nice, super clean. I love how the antennas are integrated into the smartphone holder on the Mavic Air 2's controller. Mavic Air 2 completely wins, or totally wins rather, by a landslide when it comes to controller design. It also wins, Mavic Air 2 also wins when it comes to battery life. Other things, other areas where the Mavic Air 2 wins over Mavic 2 Pro is size. You can see this case that I'm using. And this case, and you can find it on my website, full disclosure, this case was actually designed for a Mavic 2. But you can see when I put the Mavic Air in this case, which it works perfectly fine with it, there's a little bit of a gap. So the Mavic Air 2 is actually smaller than the Mavic 2 Pro. But despite the smaller size, it doesn't perform in an underwhelming fashion. It's got better range. Obviously, fly line of sight to be safe and responsible. But the range of the Mavic Air 2 could grossly trump the range of the Mavic 2 Pro or the Mavic 2 Zoom. So it's a really impressive piece of kit. I've got tons of videos to film. I've got videos I'm editing tonight, and I'm going to release them all to y'all. But, you know, I've only touched the surface with the Mavic Air 2. But the surface that I've touched so far with the Mavic Air 2 has thoroughly impressed me. And I'm not going to go as far as to say, oh, it's blown my mind, because, you know, unfortunately, because of all the frequent updates with drones, we're seeing improvements. But I won't say that this drone has brought anything earth-shattering to the playing field. The big thing that's the closest to earth-shattering would be the improved controller design. The camera is, obviously it doesn't have a 1-inch sensor, but it does do 4K 60. And 4K 60 is something I've got to test within an upcoming field test video. I've been so impressed with 4K 30, 4K 30 HDR that I haven't even tested 4K 60 yet. I only bought the one with one battery. So at the time of filming this live show, I've got one battery. So my time in the field has been limited to the one battery. And, you know, what I've been doing so far, if you've seen my videos, you know, the first field test, that was an exhaustive, you know, start to finish a battery. And then also the other exhaustive video I did was, and it's been well perceived as well, was the one that I posted yesterday, Mavic Air 2 Deep Wilderness Flight. And let me post a link to that right now in case y'all haven't seen it. But this is where I hiked out, I think I don't know, 5-6 miles in the middle of the wilderness, and, you know, try to burn off some of this fat because I've been in quarantine. But this video, and I'm going to link it right now, you know, this video, in my opinion, is a true testament to the quality, not only the camera's quality, Mavic Air 2's camera quality, but also just the handling and the ease of use. You know, within this video that I just linked, you know, you'll be able to see, you know, how quality of an experience that I felt that it was. You know, taking it out of the case, flying it, bringing it down, packing it up. I mean, you know, cradle to grave. Michael says, I am looking at buying the Mavic Air 2 end of summer. Michael, when you do, and I will shamelessly promote, But when you do, go to epicdroneshow.com and click buy a drone. That helps me out, dude. I appreciate that. So yeah, but I mean the Mavic Air 2, I'm not here to pitch the idea that it's the, and you've seen those channels on YouTube, not just YouTube, but other networks, the ones where, they potentially had the drone many weeks before it was even available for sale. And they had the drone and they filmed all these videos that were just professionally edited. All of the color saturation is 100% perfect. I'm not here to do that for y'all. I'm here to, okay, I bought the drone. Granted, I was ninja refreshing on epicdroneshow.com to make sure that I could order it ASAP and hopefully get it, more quickly than a lot of other people. I was proactive about that, but, I'm not here to tell y'all, oh, it's blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you how it is. And again, with telling y'all how it is, I've been super impressed with the Mavic Air 2 so far. The price point, drones are expensive. Don't get me wrong, drones are super expensive. But with the price point, the price to performance ratio, in my opinion, I feel that DJI has done an exceptional job with the Mavic Air 2. And it begs the question, how are they going to better differentiate Mavic 3 from Mavic Air 2 and then also Mavic 2 Pro? Because inevitably the Mavic 3 is coming very soon. Is it going to come the end of 2020? Is Mavic 3 going to come the first part of 2021? We don't know. But what are they going to put in Mavic 3? And see, that's what, because Mavic Air 2 is it's nice. Great features. So, and that's not their top tier drone. Their top tier is going to be the Mavic 3. So, how is Mavic 3 going to blow away Mavic Air 2 and then also grossly trump Mavic 2 Pro? That's the question. Brad says, sold my Spark Fly More combo for $225 yesterday and having a pending sale for my Mavic Air 1 for $470. Dude, that's sweet, man. That is sweet. So I guess you decided not to keep I think you were calling them your collectibles. You decided to do away with your collectibles. Yeah, that's good, man. That is super good. I've always had a problem when it comes to, and maybe I shouldn't have had this problem, but when it comes to technology, I've always had a problem with becoming attached from a collectability perspective. Now, other things, I like, there's things I like to collect. I like to collect coins. I like to collect watches. Things that are timeless. But technology, I've never felt that it was a timeless thing. But a lot of people would argue, when you're dealing with like the original Macintosh computers, that sort of thing. It's interesting. Brad says, yeah, one in the hand or two in the bush. Yeah, there you go, man. You don't want to lose them, that's for sure. Yeah, this is, Brad says, I realized I would never fly them again. Both great drones, but, it's like anything else. It's, and one of the hardest things to do, unless it's an item that has sentimental value or whatever, but, one of the hardest things to do for a lot of people is to try to sell, give away, or discard, something that they once loved. And it's not, and I shouldn't say love, that's a strong word. I would say something that they once enjoyed. And the way I look at it and the way I justify it is, it's every objects are just objects. Material objects are just material objects. And if we as consumers choose to mentally associate something, some sort of moment with that object, then that object becomes more than just an object. It becomes an object that possesses sentimental value. So for me, drones have never possessed sentimental value. If I want to look at sentimental value, what I can look at are my YouTube videos. When I had my first Phantom 1, oh, these are the videos that I filmed. And then Phantom 2 Vision Plus had its own DJI camera. DJI entered the camera arena and this, that, and the other. I can look at it from that perspective. But do I feel the emotional need to have those old drones in my studio? I don't. And I mean, everybody's different, but I don't have the sentimental need to have that. Brad says, I might keep my prosumer drones. Yeah, prosumers are important, especially if you're running an aerial business. My Mavic Mini trumps both of them, 90 whatever. So what's been your experience with the ND filters? ND, by the way, if people aren't familiar, neutral density. And the Mavic Air 2. Have you used one more than the rest? You know what's funny? I didn't get any of the neutral density filters for the Mavic Air 2. And I know I've used ND filters quite extensively for my Phantoms, but honestly, man, I've gotten, and maybe this, and I apologize if this comes across as arrogant, but I've gotten within Final Cut Pro 10 to where I can color grade and adjust the exposure and or saturation where I don't feel like I really need a neutral density filter. It's just something else to fumble with. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I just... Brad says the transmission system on the Mavic Mini is so much stronger and reliable than either of them, and the battery life is really good. Yeah, Mavic Mini's a boss, man. What I hope, and this is my thing, because, if you don't need the extreme range, which obviously you need to fly a line of sight to be safe and responsible anyway in most situations, most countries, whatever the laws may be. But what if they release a Mavic Mini Pro that has a 4K camera? I think that would just be a killer deal. USB recharge, pop it up, great battery life, pull out your solar battery bank, recharge it, minimal travel size, minimal travel weight, and hopefully falls underneath whatever the specified or whatever the stipulated weight requirements are. Who knows? 90 whatever says, I think the Mavic Air 2 Fly More combo has a set of ND filters. I think it does, man. I'd have to check the specs. Actually, everybody out there checking the specs, head on over to epicdroneshow.com, click buy a drone, and that'll take you directly to the Mavic Air 2, and that's where I'm going right now. Let me see what comes with Fly More combo. Let's see, Mavic Air 2. The Fly More combo. Let's see. Okay, Mavic Air 2 Fly More combo. Yep, Fly More combo set comes with ND filters. It says it comes with ND 1.6, ND 6.4, and ND 256. And you also get a battery charging hub and a shoulder bag. The biggest thing for me, aside from the neutral density filters, the biggest thing for me that adds value to the Fly More combo versus the standard Mavic Air 2 like I got, and again, the reason I went with the standard Mavic Air 2 combo is because my assumption is that the other one may have sold out more quickly because it's a better deal. So I went with this, and I wanted to get it quickly so I could do my reviews. But now I'm down. If I had gotten the Fly More, I would have had 3 batteries. Now I've just got one battery. But yeah, Fly More combo comes with 3 batteries, so that's super cool. And it also comes with extra propellers. Not that I intend to break any of these, but dude, accidents happen, man. Should be prepared. Definitely should be prepared. The didgeridoo had summoned me, and it said, hey man, it said, if you want to hear the didgeridoo sound, like Hybrid Life did earlier, the super chat, do a super chat, and you can hear the didgeridoo sound. No sound until the super chat, though. Yeah, man, Mavic Air 2 is just it's a super good experience so far. You know, a review that I owe everyone, and I did a few shots the other day, and I haven't, or yesterday actually, and I haven't gotten everything I want to do. One of the viewers was saying, hey man, I want to see how the camera, the stills photography performs on the Mavic Air 2, particularly in low light conditions. So I've got that on my radar. Wasn't able to film that tonight because I'm doing the live show, but also I had several consulting gigs, and business is business, man. You gotta make that Skrilla, and I had to do that. So I've got that on my to-do list. And obviously I would never fly a drone if I've had a rum, and I'm drinking some rum right now, so I'm not touching a drone. So yeah, we will get that very soon. And that begs the question, any other questions you have. I'm constantly, not constantly, but I'm proactively refreshing my YouTube comments for questions. And I've got a laundry list of Mavic Air 2 to-do list for Mavic Air 2 videos. Then I've got somebody, this is funny, man. So I posted a video, and I'm pulling it up. It's funny what's blowing up because of the quarantine. I posted a video. Let's see, it's loading. How to marinate hamburgers. And this is not an insulting comment, and maybe some of y'all haven't done this, but I posted a video, how to marinate hamburgers in the year 2014, and now I've had 48,160 views. So it just goes to show, YouTube serves a purpose. I mean, just because you and or I may be familiar with something doesn't mean everybody else is. So if you've got a video, if there's something you're familiar with and you choose to post a video, it's probably going to provide value for someone. SJ Wheats. Oh, hi, man. Just finished watching one of your vids from 6 years ago, the tuna diet one. Dude, I've gotten fat. I remember the tuna diet video. And the tuna diet for me, and again, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. But the tuna diet for me worked. And the thing about it was just how I was able to lose weight so quickly. And it worked. I mean, it may be different for everybody, but, I was able to drop a lot. The biggest challenge I've had in the past few weeks has been the pandemic, man, because, the gyms have been closed. Now the gyms have reopened in some places, but there's no way in heck I'm going to go in a gym. That's like an invitation to get the COVID. So what I've been trying to do, and I mean, I'm not setting a good example right now. I'm drinking a rum from Bermuda. But if you stick to it, man, if you stick to it, you do your cardio, you do your strength training. And again, everybody's body is different. But I will tell you, as soon as this COVID stuff goes away and I'm able to comfortably go back and, be around others in the gym and work out, dude, I'm going to get ripped because I'm going to be extra motivated because I got fat. I got fat again, man. It's no fun. And that video was, and SJ Wheat says, I'm going to start tomorrow, brother. I really hope it works. I'll be lifting weights every morning too and doing 1,000 jumping jacks. Dude, that's awesome, man. I mean, here's the thing. These are my opinions regarding working out. if you don't work out, you're probably going to get fat. Even if you eat, even if you're very selective about what you eat, you eat grilled foods, you eat vegetables, you don't put butter and, all that stuff on them that, and dressing and that sort of stuff that makes it more fattening. Even if you're hyper aware of what you eat, if you don't work out, and even if you just, and again, I'm speaking from my own perspective. I'm not a nutritionalist. I'm not a doctor, but from my own perspective, if I just worked out, just did cardio, that wasn't enough. Because if you just do cardio, and that's what I've been doing now, I've been walking, dude, I'm flabby, man. I'm fat. It's no good. You got to do the strength training to get the toning. And the thing is with the strength training too, not only are you getting the toning, but you're getting that extra fat burn from the act of working out. So you're getting that on top of your cardio. And I'm missing it, man. I've missed strength training for, what has it been, 2-3 months now because of this freaking coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I'm irritated. So I wish you the best of luck, man. I mean, it is, stick to it. Cut out those Cokes, cut out those what I would do? If you want to drink something besides water, I would drink unsweet tea. Check out my video on my channel, on my website, IrixGuy.com, the unsweet tea maker. Dude, that thing's a godsend when it comes to losing weight. It really is. SJ Wheat says, I agree, man. Do you think that much exercise and a tuna vegetable diet will make me lose weight? Here's all I got to say. Everybody is different. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionalist. I'm not a lawyer. And this is not any sort of formal advice. What I will tell you is that what I did is I just said, look, I looked in the mirror. I said, I'm fat. I said, I got a fat chin. I got fat cheeks. I got a gut. And I said, you know what? I'm going to fix that. So what did I do? I ordered a ton of tuna packets. And I didn't do the tuna salad. And I didn't drink, any sort of sugary drinks, Coke, insert whatever big brand here. Not bashing those brands. It's good to have a carbonated beverage every now and then. But, I switched to water. I would do unsweet tea. I would do tuna. And I would do some little tortilla shells just to add a little bit of extra stuff to it. And I dropped so much weight. I got ripped. And I got fat again because I started eating again. So, it's... Hey, SJ Wheats, I hope I'm an inspiration, and that's all that matters, man. Keep yourself motivated. Look in the mirror. What I would advise you to do, and again, not a formal recommendation, but a suggestion. If you want to check it out on my website, check out my Bluetooth scales. You can find those. Something that I enjoyed doing was getting on the scales every day with my Bluetooth and using that app to track my weight loss. You want to look good. And I don't know if you're married, I don't know if you're single or whatever, but if you're single, you probably really need to look good, because if you don't, you're not going to go out and get the ladies, man. You got to be looking good. So Brad says, I bet the Mavic 3 Pro will have a replaceable camera like the Autel 2. Yeah, I think an interchangeable camera on Mavic 3 is going to be a must. It's got to be. A 90 whatever says, I agree, Brad. I think an evolution with the tech is to separate the aerial platform from the camera. Nice option to upgrade the camera and keep the same drone. Yeah, looking at a drone as a flying tripod of sorts versus a drone. You're upgrading the camera instead of the drone every year. I think that's a good idea. Michael says, 20 years ago, I was approaching 500 pounds, 465 at my heaviest. I am now 287 and just 22 pounds from what I was in high school 35 years ago. It's a lot of work. Drop the sugar and bad carbs. Dude, that's right. You're drinking the soda. If you're drinking the sodas with the sugar, my thing is this. If when I want to lose, and I've got to get turbo in this mode because I've gotten, quarantine head and, social distancing and this, that, and the other, and it's messed me up. But what I've got to do is get back on the unsweet tea only, on the water only, the strength training, and the cardio hardcore. And I mean, I'm even in quarantine, I've been hiking, 20, 30 miles a week, trying to become less fat. But the reality is that, when you're not doing your full routine, it's hard to be 100% effective. And yeah, it's a struggle, man. And that's one of those things, you can't be, or you shouldn't be too, SG Wheat says, consume so much sugar and all the bad stuff. Yeah, man, I mean, you don't want that. I mean, that's some nasty stuff. And, sugars are almost always bad. But one of the things to watch out for, every time I buy a fruit drink, because I like fruit stuff. I mean, I had a rum and fruit juice earlier. But when I do that, they're very deceptive about how they label stuff. So what I always do when I'm looking at fruit-based beverages is I'll look at the nutritional value. And obviously it's going to have sugar because sugars naturally exist within fruit. But what does not naturally exist within fruit is added sugar. So, always make sure that, and again, not that it's healthy. I mean, fruit juice is not healthy, but if you want to treat and you're doing fruit juice, be sure to check that and make sure that it's, no sugar added. You don't want sugar on top of natural fruit sugar. You just want the fruit only. And that's why there's only certain juices that I buy for, Michael says, hidden sugar in a lot of drinks and fruit and foods. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff. You look at added sugars, I mean, it's sickening what all's in there. I mean, if I had a larger space to run my own farm, I would farm all my vegetables. I would freeze those, and I wouldn't do it because it's all not just the sugars. You got all these preservatives. You've got, I mean, there is junk that these people, I mean, we're talking beyond steroids and beyond added sugars. I mean, there's junk that's being injected into our foods that would just make you, anyway, that's a topic for another live show. SG Wheat says, I consume 3,000 calories a day. If I drop down to like 500 a day, should I lose weight? Dude, again, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a nutritionalist, and I'm not a lawyer. But, from my experience, when I was tracking it, and there's an app, I don't have my phone on me, but I think I remember the name of it. There's an app that's very good. It's made by Under Armour. Go into your app store on your iPhone or your Android and look for the Under Armour app. That app, and I use the free version because I'm cheap. I don't want to pay a subscription, but it was a great way to track breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I don't snack anyway. But if I did snack, I could just track the snacks in there. Just a great way to see exactly what you're eating throughout a day. Track your workouts, how many calories. If you use an Apple Watch or something like that, you can pair it with the app, with the Under Armour app. Just a great way to have a complete day-by-day analysis of what you're doing. And then if you pick up the scales like I was talking about, the Bluetooth scales, you can find them on my website, IrixGuy.com. But if you pick those up, then you can have that data available within the Under Armour app as well. So the bottom line is that you can look at that on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, whatever your prerogative might be. And you can look at it and you can say, okay, when I started this, I was very fat. I weighed X amount. But a week later, I weighed X amount. 2 weeks later, a month later, I weighed this much. So you can see if you're achieving progress. Now keep in mind, a lot of times with strength training, that you may see weight increases because of the muscle mass. So, don't always assume that just because, your body weights may have increased that, you're getting fat. Some of that could be muscle. So, I mean, there's a lot of variables that come into play. But, that was a way. And I'm getting back into that because I'm not politically correct or whatever. I mean, I'll tell you how it is. I'm fat. I don't like being fat. I want to be ripped. And, with that being the case, that's a tool that I've found. And again, I don't feel behooved to do the paid version, but the free version of the Under Armour app, I'm able to track my meals, my snacks, which I don't eat snacks, and you know, my workouts, and then my weight by way of the Bluetooth scale, and see where I'm going. Is it positive progress? Something else I do, and not to be obsessive about it, but you know, for me, I'm in a unique situation because I do YouTube videos every day. But if you're not on camera every day, something you may want to do is just snap a photo of yourself every day, and then look at that photo a month later. You know, does your face look fatter? Does it look thinner? You know, just kind of, you know, photo of your gut, whatever. Your belly getting bigger? Is it getting smaller? You know, whatever. You know, things that you can look at and say, okay, well, you know, that's been rough not being able to go out and sit down and have that good Mexican dinner with the cheese dip and the margaritas. But look at my picture a month ago and look at my picture now. You know, I'm looking better. You know, especially if you're single. I mean, you know, when you get married, here's the thing: you get married, man. You know, you don't want to just be, you don't want to be, you don't want to become a slob, because that's just not, that's not appropriate. But a lot of people do. I mean, they just say, well, I'm married. You know, I don't care, and they just get fat. You know, I mean, that's a sad reality, but it's the truth. I mean, it's one of those things. If you're, you know, especially if you're single, you know, you want to look good, you want to feel good, and it's not just looking good, but when you look good, you feel better, and that's super important. Michael says low-fat yogurt is high in sugar to replace the fat. Brad says, what price range are you expecting? Hoping for the Mavic 3. I'm guessing around $1,500. You know, I think for Mavic 3, I think around $1,500 US is probably a pretty good guess. Now let's say hypothetically the competitor steps up to the playing field and they offer something, you know, that may change. I mean, you know, it could be that they have to reprice themselves to be competitive. But who are we fooling? Nobody's going to step up and compete with DJI. I mean, even GoPro failed. So, well, guys, we are out. This is crazy. We're in an hour and 44 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this show up, this live show. We're going to have a lot more live shows soon. Send me any questions you may have, any content suggestions for upcoming live shows, and I'll try my best to address within upcoming live shows. I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate the super chats. Also, don't forget to support me on Patreon if you choose to do so. You can find that link within this video's description, or just head on over to patreon.com/IrixGuy. Just a great way to support the channel. Again, for everybody tuning in that's not familiar with my channel, I am an independent YouTube channel, so it's your viewership, it's your support that enables my channel to continue to grow. Thanks for your viewership. Be sure to subscribe, and when you do, ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. Y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.